Dramatic orchestral music builds slow narrator. The year is 1861. America, a young nation just 85 years old, is about to face its darkest hour. A brutal conflict that will pit brother against brother, divide the country in two, and cost more lives than any other war in U.S. history. This is the story of the American Civil War, a fight between the Union and the Confederacy that would decide the future of freedom, slavery, and the very survival of the United States. Causes of the war. Visual, map of U.S. in 1860, slave states versus free states highlighted. Narrator, the roots of the Civil War stretch back decades. At its heart was one central issue, slavery. The South's economy depended on plantations and enslaved labor, while the North moved toward industry and opposed the expansion of slavery into new territories. Tensions grew with events like the Missouri Compromise, the Kansas-Nebraska Act, and the infamous Dred Scott decision, which denied African Americans the right to citizenship. In 1860, the election of Abraham Lincoln, who opposed the spread of slavery, was the breaking point. Southern states feared their way of life was threatened. One by one, 11 states seceded, forming the Confederate States of America under Jefferson Davis. The Union, led by President Lincoln, refused to recognize secession. The stage was set for war.
Visual, cannon fire animation, Charleston Harbor. Narrator, on April 12, 1861, Confederate cannons opened fire on Fort Sumter in South Carolina. The Union garrison surrendered after 34 hours. The Civil War had begun. Both sides believed the war would be short. They were wrong. Major campaigns, 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. 1. First Battle of Bull Run, Manassas, minus 1,861. Visual, soldiers clashing, chaos, smoke. Narrator, the first major battle came in July 1861 at Bull Run, Virginia. Civilians even came to watch, expecting a quick Union victory. Instead, Confederate General Stonewall Jackson held firm. The Union Army fled in panic. The war would be long and bloody. 2. Antietam minus 1,862. Visual, cornfield, battle lines, aftermath. Narrator, in September 1862, General Robert E. Lee invaded the North, clashing with Union forces at Antietam in Maryland. It became the bloodiest single day in American history, over 22,000 casualties. Though tactically a draw, it was a strategic Union victory, giving Lincoln the chance to issue the Emancipation Proclamation. 3. Emancipation Proclamation minus 1,863. Visual, Lincoln signing document, enslaved people freed. Narrator, on January 1, 1863, Lincoln declared all enslaved people in Confederate states forever free. The war was no longer just about preserving the Union. It was now a fight for human freedom. The Union also began recruiting African American soldiers who bravely fought in segregated regiments. 4. Gettysburg minus 1,863. Visual, Pickett's charge, fields of Gettysburg. Narrator, in July 1863, Lee launched another invasion of the North, leading to the three-day Battle of Gettysburg. It was the turning point of the war. Over 50,000 soldiers were killed or wounded. Lee's army retreated, never to invade the North again. 5. Vicksburg minus 1,863. Visual, Mississippi River, Union Navy. Narrator, at the same time, General Ulysses S. Grant captured Vicksburg, Mississippi, giving the Union control of the Mississippi River. The Confederacy was now split in two.
Visual, burning cities, Sherman's March. Narrator, by 1864, the Union held the advantage in manpower and industry. General William Tecumseh Sherman launched his infamous March to the Sea, destroying railroads, farms, and cities across Georgia. His strategy of total war broke the South's ability to fight. Meanwhile, General Grant relentlessly pursued Lee's army in Virginia, grinding down Confederate forces through brutal battles like the Wilderness and Cold Harbor. The South was running out of men, supplies, and hope. The war ends. Narrator, on April 9, 1865, at Appomattox Courthouse, Virginia, General Robert E. Lee surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant. The war was over. 4 years of fighting, more than 620,000 dead, countless wounded, and entire cities in ruins. Just days later, tragedy struck again. On April 14, 1865, President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth, shocking the nation. The war's greatest leader would not live to see its aftermath. Aftermath and legacy: visual, freed slaves. Reconstruction imagery: the Civil War abolished slavery and preserved the Union, but healing was slow. Reconstruction attempted to rebuild the South and extend rights to freed African Americans, but resistance and racism persisted for generations. Still, the war reshaped America forever. It transformed the U.S. into a single, unified nation, rather than a fragile collection of states, and it set the stage for the long, ongoing struggle for civil rights. Closing: the American Civil War remains the deadliest conflict in U.S. history, but it was also a turning point, the rebirth of a nation, a reminder of the cost of division and the power of unity. From the ashes of war came freedom, and the promise, though not yet fulfilled, of equality for all.